Hey guys, Zibboyeye or just Zib is fine, and today, we continue our dive into cellular horror. Today, I'm covering One Missed Call 2, which sees the return of a couple familiar faces. Story creator Yasushi Akimoto and screenwriter Miwako Daida returned to the project. However, director Takashi Miike would not make it back. Instead, the movie enlists the direction of Nenpei Tsukamoto, whose portfolio predominantly consists of TV work I'm unfamiliar with. The only work of his I recognize is Gomu, a 4-minute spoof of One Missed Call. See, go as in the word for mistake and mu as in the onyomi reading for dream, mistaken dream, read together like gomu, the word for rubber? Well, I like the pun. One Missed Call 2 would premiere on... Oh, come on! This Wikipedia page has the date wrong too? Oh well, second verse same as the first. The movie really premiered on February 5th, 2005, grossing around $9 million. The franchise was a success outside of theaters as well, with the TV show adaptation of the first movie premiering later that same year. But I'm here to talk about the sequel, so let's get into One Missed Call 2. A cursed call foretelling death emerges once more, however the signs differ from Mimiko's curse. The call eventually reaches protagonist Kyoko Okudera. Alongside her boyfriend Naoto Sakurai and reporter Takako Nozoe, the trio investigate this new curse. Firstly, the presentation. Unfortunately, the stream of consciousness-esque editing from the first movie is absent here. However, the sequel's visuals warrant equal if not more merit. I love saturation in film, and One Missed Call 2 scratches that itch. The reds really pop, especially against the greens of the background. The saturation and contrast makes for eye-catching imagery. The man behind the shots is Tokusho Kikimura, cinematographer of famous J-horror films like Ju-on the Grudge 1 and 2, Cure, and Apartment 1303. A standout image for me is this profile shot of both Nozoe and Naoto. Because a profile angle only shows half of someone's face, it presents only half the information of a full-face shot. However, the characters are seated next to mirrors that reflect a part of their expression hidden away from the camera, so you always get 100% of their face. It's a clever way to preserve information in a shot that usually forfeits thereof. The horror is about on par with the previous movie. Although the visuals are less impressive, the deaths are still brutal. I like the scares placed in the background as well as this moment. The scene is confident. Rather than acting as a cue for the scare, the crescendo occurs after, as if it's a reaction. The silenced horror allows the visual to speak for itself. The story is familiar yet distinct. Between the cursed protagonist and investigation, the core scenario rings pretty similar to the first movie. Although, unlike the previous entry, the search leads the heroes to Taiwan. The new mystery and scope of the adventure sets the story apart from the first. The pacing makes the movie very easy for fans to get into. The protagonist gets cursed earlier than in the initial film. It wastes no time getting to the core conflict. Contributing to this is the character's recollection of events from the first movie.
1年くらい前にあったじゃん。携帯通じて霊が来るみたいな。あ、テレビで女子大生が死んだやつ？そうそうそう。
Their familiarity with Mimiko's curse means the film doesn't have to devote much time to establishing the rules to the characters that the audience already knows. The character's recollection of the first movie is also satisfying. It represents the impact the curse and especially the TV exorcism had. This impact is also seen in a returning character. In the first movie, Detective Motomiya scoffs at the curse, refusing to assist the lead character. Come this film, however, he is a believer, determined to get to the bottom of the new curse.
これ、警察って防ぎようがないんじゃないですか。おい。京子助けてもらえるんですよね。
できる限りのことはやる。
It's great to see the events of the first movie develop the character. The effects the first movie has on its sequel solidifies cohesion between both films. One Missed Call 2 utilizes the theme of the prior movie effectively as well. The first movie suggested that abuse was cyclical. Unfortunately, I found the film's support for this weak. But One Missed Call 2 is much more dedicated to this theme. The curse stems from a Taiwanese girl named Lily. Having been bullied, Lily cursed one of her tormentors. After death, her curse continued. Then there's Nozoe's backstory. As a child, her father abused her, favoring her twin sister. Vindictive, Nozoe made her sister answer the phone in hopes it was the cursed call. In both these cases, the victim carries on the abuse they suffered. The sequel even rewrites some of the preceding film's circumstances in support of its message. One such rewrite is the truth behind Yumi's possession.
ユミはミミコに憑依されたんじゃなく、自らの意志でミミコに共鳴したんだ。内なる悪魔を目覚めさせてしまったんだ。覚醒したんだよ。
Having the abused Yumi willingly embrace Mimiko makes her responsible for the murder of Yamashita. Therefore, Yumi carried the cycle of abuse. The film also adds on to Mimiko's origins. Mimiko was born out of her mother's rape. Abuse literally spawned an abuser. The movie not only introduces characters to corroborate its message, but rewrites context behind the first movie to support its theme. I love how the sequel builds on and strengthens its predecessor. And there's more where that came from in the end, so let's get into the third act. The trio heads to the mine shaft where Lily was entombed. There, the film partakes in a cheeky reference to its contemporaries. Okay, that caught me by surprise and put a smile on my face. The ending utilizes a rule exclusive to Lily's curse. When her call rings, whoever answers the call will assume the fate of the intended victim. This is exactly how Naoto saves Kyoko. I value rules in fiction, especially when they can be twisted to save the day. The scene also serves as a conclusion to Naoto's self-doubt.
こう覚えてる？あの辺だったよな。京子の携帯拾ったの。あの時俺が携帯拾わなかったらこんなことにならなかったのかな。
Naoto having to pick up her phone all over again was a clever way for him to relinquish his regret. The final scene, though, is a bit confusing. After visiting Kyoko in a hospital, Nozoe discovers her dead husband Yu Ting as well as herself as his killer. Sort of. The twist is Nozoe really died in the mines. The her that killed Yu Ting was Mimiko appropriating Nozoe's image. It also feels unnecessary for Mimiko to take merely Nozoe's visage, which the film implies also happened to Yumi. I understand Mimiko is releasing their rage, but it made more sense to me when it seemed Mimiko was using their body as a vessel to kill, rather than a spirit disguising themselves as another spirit. In spite of my confusion, I actually liked Mimiko's use of Nozoe. For one, I preferred to Mimiko's use of Yumi as, unlike Yumi, Nozoe had displayed a propensity for abuse earlier. So Nozoe and Mimiko share this connection. Although I found the possession-esque ending of the original out of nowhere, the sequel allows it a stronger basis. The exposition clears up the relationship between Mimiko and those whose malice she releases. On top of that, the sequel brings consistency to her action. Mimiko once again awakens the inner evil of an abuse victim using the same knife. Through a consistent who, why, and how, One Missed Call 2 standardizes this MO of Mimiko. Once again, the sequel improves both itself and the first movie. One Missed Call 2 was a pleasant surprise. I harbored a fondness for the visuals and I found the horror just fine. The story got right to the point and bore impact from the first film that made for a satisfying continuation. Furthermore, the sequel goes beyond, recontextualizing and building on top of the first movie to end with a strong support towards the theme. One Missed Call 2 is a good film and a great sequel. Even if you watched the first movie and felt mixed on it as I had, I think the supplementary nature of the sequel makes it a must-watch follow-up. I've been Zibboyeye, or just Zib is fine, and thank you for watching. Zibbo bye bye!